Good morning from New York City. Welcome to Scale Up AI Soundbite Series. This is an engaging series of AI-centric LinkedIn live sessions featuring prominent leaders from Insight Partners' portfolio. These are the companies that are shaping the future of AI. These talks set the stage for Scale Up AI, which is coming up in just a matter of weeks, one of the first global conferences that brings together the AI builders, executive, luminaries, and the innovators that are building out the future of AI. Insight Partners is thrilled to have our portfolio company Quantive as a Scale Up AI partner. And we are going to be talking to their CEO, Carmine Visconti, today. Quantive developed a software positioned as the source of truth for strategic initiatives. Carmine, I'm so excited to have you here because I don't know if anyone else has looked at the clock or the calendar, but it is coming up to end of year. And to me, that is strategy, strategy, strategy. What am I going to be doing next year? So I have a bunch of questions, but welcome to the Soundbite stage.
Hi, Nikki. Very pleased to chat with you today.
Perfect. So first of all, what is a strategy with a capital S? Let's ground ourselves there.
That's a painful question because, if you go and you ask Google and you search what is a strategy, you get over 4 billion results.
Wow.
Right? Just to put in perspective, if you ask the same question, what is philosophy, you get a fraction of the results that you get if you ask the what is a strategy. But anyway, your question in Quantive boils down to help clients to formulate a theory. So at Quantive, what's a strategy means what is the theory, and specifically what is the theory around the victory. So we're trying to help client to design, develop, and subsequently execute a theory, which you can think of as strategy, you can think of as strategic initiatives that allow you to explore what it takes to experience non-linear growth.
Well, I mean, Plato is probably rolling over and being like, philosophy, I swear there's so much more to it, but that makes a ton of sense. And really, if we're thinking about strategy, it's that forward initiative. Where do we want to get to? What is that theory? What is that hypothesis?
Exactly.
And then what are the steps that we're going to need underneath it? So how do you think AI is going to play a role here? Hey, I personally, I follow a pretty traditional approach to strategy and strategy setting. What's AI going to do to change it?
So AI, it's an important enabler of strategy management. But we always say is that without a human intervention and without the additive component and contribution of a business leader, AI is going to flop. It's the contribution of the two component, a strategic thought leader that embrace the notion of working with AI in order to derive a very fast, expedite, and definitely efficient and effective strategy management or strategy initiative process. And to bring it down and to try to make it a specific remarks around your question, AI plays in two parts. As you rightly said, we said already we depict the strategy is a theory, and being such, it's a blended of fact and hypothesis. You said the key words is exactly what it is. So it's the combination of the two. And AI can work alongside business leaders to iron out the facts, what is actually already true. What is the size of the market, how the market is going to evolve, what is the expectation around the market, what are the type of resources that we need to organize all around the initiatives that we're trying to strategize in order to depict our theory of victory. And those are the facts. At the same time, and therefore AI, to be specific, because otherwise I miss my fil rouge, AI will help you indeed to diagnose and understanding profoundly and probably better than you can do on your own, which are the forces at work. Right? On the other side of the equation, the hypothesis, the assumptions, AI is very important because it acts as a challenger. So you as a business leader, you are facing an artificial intelligence that we resurface for you a series of assumptions or hypotheses. If I use your lexicon, which is exactly the same lexicon that we use in our technology, we resurface a series of hypotheses asking you, hey, if you're running such an initiative, for example, I want to improve my go-to-market strategy, these are the series of hypotheses which have to be true in order for you to be successful. And the AI is playing a critical role in being the challenger to the leaders that are running the specific strategic initiatives that you are evaluating. And the combination of the two is what we believe at Quantive is making the killing. And as a matter of fact, is the reason why clients are turning to Quantive in order to run their own strategic initiatives.
Absolutely. Because if I think about, and I'd like to kind of drill down a little bit more into the specifics of accuracy and efficiency. They're two words you've said a few times. Because if I think of even my own team, I lead marketing here at Insight Partners. So hi, everyone who's tuning in. I have many divisions of my team. All of them need to be, they will have their own strategy, but that needs to line up into the strategy of the firm. So there's a ton of data points there. Everyone has their own elements of the truth. And then there's also, as you said, the sort of more macro things that I need to bring together. So what you're telling me is that we believe AI will be able to be that gatherer, that memory bank, essentially, of all of the different components. Because, I mean, truly, sometimes I'll set a strategy and then I'll realize, crap, that's not exactly accurate to what I set out to do last time. So you're telling me it'll gather and capture all of the data, keep me online, and then also challenge me, which I have a pretty challenging team. They love to bring things forward, but this is more fact-based challenging. Can you dive into that a little bit more around accuracy?
Yes. So to begin with, the answer to your question is the following. Yes, we have built the single source of truth, aka a system that allow a full integrity of your entire strategy management process, from the top end of your group strategy or what matters to do at Insight, all the way down at the individual level in the marketing team, the person that is running a team of 5, right?
Yeah.
So we need to make sure that the entire process, people have been acting with the integrity of creating not a disalignment between what the top of the organization is thinking is what it matters and what is important to run from a strategic perspective, vis-a-vis what the people on the ground in the field are really running. That's the first component. And AI is playing a critical role in order to enhance and effectively ensuring the integrity of the overall process without having a freestyle approach in the way you're going to depict your strategy. And this is the velocity part. So AI is extremely quick and very rapid to establish what is called in consultancy, I guess, to establish the so-called point of departure. Is the moment in which you have designed your strategy, you know exactly what you're going to go after. You have to run a series of artifact and analysis. It can be the porter, the pestle, the SWOT analysis, you name it. And therefore, you're ready to rock and roll. So you're ready to activate your execution. AI is going to shrink the time to point of departure by a factor of probably 100.
Wow.
Simply because it has an ability to process very fast, very rapidly, and ingest a series of data that a human or a team of people will take probably a week or two. That's one part.
A week or two, you're being very generous. It takes me a lot longer to really get my ducks in a row.
Because you guys are perhaps even smarter and therefore you are even more analytical. But the point I try to make is AI definitely is going to shrink because it's going to allow leaders to really try to depict and focus on what matters and actually ignoring what it doesn't. So that's one part when it comes to the velocity, to the speed. When it comes to the accuracy, instead, AI is assisting you in making sure that everyone is operating in locksteps, right? And therefore, the resources are going to be deployed exactly where there was the need, there was a merit to deploy such resources. And once again, we're going back to the same point of being consistent throughout, because that's what a strategy is about.
Yeah.
So it's the theory of victory where the focus and the way you're going to be operating is a straight punch on a certain given target, which is end up being your strategic initiatives. And this is where AI is going to attend the entire process alongside the leaders in order to make you more fast and expedite in the way you're going to depict your point of departure. But at the same time, when you run and monitor your business and your progresses and whatever comes with it, you are going to be absolutely on point in order to be on point on the strategic initiative, but on point also on the resources and on the budget which you have been allocating.
Yeah, I can see an absolute just godsend in terms of because a big piece of the challenge, setting the strategy, and even bigger piece of the challenge, staying on track with the strategy and not getting, deflected by all of the different things that come into our day to day or, disrupting our journey and our track. I want to come back to that, but you mentioned sort of the role of the person working alongside it, and that I'm clearly very analytical, and that's what I'm bringing to it. How do you see a human intuition, my knowledge, my experience set, my goals, my plan, kind of working alongside these AI-driven insights? You mentioned it will challenge me, but bring that to life a little bit more, because I think that's a really critical adjustment with strategic development.
So let me use an example so that you're crystal clear why human is not going to be dislodged, or at least not, it's not intentional or solution, but it's enhancing the contribution of a leader. So let's say you want to open a sushi shop in Manhattan behind you, right? So you as a good leader, you can guarantee you have the perfect alignment, the perfect guiding policies, and the perfect things, you know exactly what to measure, right? What we are saying is, if you do everything by the book, and our solution can help you to have everyone in lockstep, so you can do everything by the book, the very best you can do is to be plus or minus 2% of the market, of the sushi market in the city of Manhattan, right? Because actually you are playing with the symmetry. There is already a market.
Yep.
Everyone is assumed to have a decent product, to have the same working shift, and there is a certain demand, right? Period and full stop. Can AI help you? Of course, it can help you. You can make sure that everyone works on point, the shift are going to be in the way you have depicted, and so on and so forth. However, though, this is where it comes to human. If you truly want to experience what it takes to have a non-linear growth, which means being better than the market, you need to bring in your equation an assumption. And this is truly human. What is the clue and what is that component, that hypothesis that you think will make your business to tilt? But equally, you're bringing home a component of risk that you need to master and you need to manage out. Speaking of the example of the sushi, for example, you may think as a human, if I make a pink rice assumption and I run a strategy to make sure that the pink rice not only will become just a nice to Instagram, but also to go after a series of action, things what to measure, and policies that makes my strategy bang on, this is where human comes in the equation. You're going to be facing an assumption that says, hang on a second, should you want to turbocharge your growth, you need to think of pink rice. You may be wrong. And if you're wrong, it's such a risky assumption that you really want to make sure that you're going to do everything by the book, and you want to perhaps pilot the first shop rather than, and all around your network of shops, assuming you have any. So the point I'm trying to make is, it's very human to make the assumption. It's not an AI. The AI is as good as all the data that you fed the AI with, which are history or historical data. If instead you need an intuition, that this is where it comes the entrepreneurial clue, or the human component that comes with the touch and saying, hang on, I need to bring an assumption in it. Because otherwise, if you don't, you're going to be as good as the market. And frankly, AI can attend the process from the beginning until the end, right? However, you want to run a disproportionate or non-linear growth in the way we call it at Quantive, bring the assumption, and that's very human.
So basically, we have the potential here with AI. It's going to level the floor and level the playing field of how people will be able to manage a strategic process. But what we're actually giving room for is the creativity, the flair, the entrepreneurial spirit to come up with pink rice. And, if you look at my beautiful water bottle, you picked the right color. And I would probably launch my sushi restaurant on Valentine's Day and bring some brand truth. So I get what you're saying. So then, how do you think, because you've kind of touched on that entrepreneurial flair and spirit, what benefit or what change do you think that leveraging AI to level the playing field of strategic development is going to do for the C-suite?
I'm being very selfish, and actually, I'm trying to play within the comments that the initial comment that you made, which was, it is painful to line up, designing a strategy, align everyone, and get to the point of departure. It's very painful. I mean, it's not just not an enjoyable process. So much so, it's so painful that even though some of your assumption or hypotheses are being violated, if I go back to my point of the pink rice, doesn't really work, it's so painful to pick another strategy that you would rather keep going and running until the end of the year, and you wait for another strategy cycle to happen again. Why? Because it's just painful. I mean, it's not enjoyable. Nobody really enjoy to do such a strategic management process from the beginning until the end.
Yep.
what we are really doing is we're making it a way more fun, frankly, by virtue of becoming a way more expedite, a way more rapid.
Mm-hmm.
And most importantly, we're making as if it's a kind of a game. So go run your validation of your assumptions. If those assumptions are being validated, it takes another couple of clicks to think again. You're not going to wait another strategic cycle because you need to speak with your bosses, and making sure that what you're doing doesn't really work.
Aligned, the dance.
Correct.
We've all done it.
Correct. So you're calling out that the hypothesis that you were running underneath which there was your strategic assumption was resting has been violated. You're not going to wait another December, another offsite, another massive whiteboard, another gathering of hundreds of executives so that you can think again. We're saying, no, go straight. Call it out. There's a violation or one of your hypotheses is being invalidated. You must think again here now.
Got it. Move on.
And you move on. And with a few clicks, right? And probably in a day or two, you are again in the position to depict your new point of departure so that you can have this strategy constantly on. And as I said, not only it's intellectually stimulating because it's interesting to be challenged in the way you operate on a daily basis, especially as a leader. Don't forget that it's assumed that 60% of the leader's payroll is supposed to be devoted to the so-called strategic initiatives.
Yeah.
As you rightly said, they think once a year, and by the way, it's very painful. The rest of the year, they're going to be running on their own daily routine.
Yeah, no checks and balances, no check-ins, and then nothing makes you more disappointed than when you turn back up at the next year's strategic planning and you're like, oh yeah, we didn't do that. We didn't move that on. We actually spent a lot of money on that, but didn't really result in anything. Nothing is more, destructive, I think, to a strong leadership team because it erodes trust if you don't stay on the path.
So we're making it a little bit more enjoyable, actually, way more enjoyable rather than a little bit, frankly, and the way quicker. To the point of, if you bring the two together, allow you to really make an entire process very seamless and therefore allows you to have a strategy constantly on.
Definitely. When I think about the last couple of years, because you've got me reminiscing about all of my leadership offsites and the times we've come together to set strategy. It's been a pretty chaotic and tumultuous last few years. Only 4 years ago, we were in the middle of a pandemic. Then there's been some market volatility and corrections. We're coming forward into some periods of global geopolitical difficulty. That's tough on leaders, and there is nothing more disruptive, in my opinion, to a strategy. And, we talked about these distractions. There's nothing more distracting to a strategy than these outside macro pressures. How will AI play to that, making it more nimble, agile, or will it not?
So I tend to believe that it's not what you know well that kills you. It's the unknown that kills you. And as a matter of fact, the COVID comes in town and nobody was expecting. Is the so-called the black swan, and then most of the businesses are going to be suffering, right? And to the previous point, strategy is definitely the part of the organization that's going to be killed first. Right? Because all of a sudden, people are not going to look anymore at the strategic predicament, assuming there was one, right? And they're just going to go freestyle, right? Because they're dealing with an emergency. Hey, guys, well, there is a COVID now. Forget strategy, forget focus, forget whatever we have agreed between Nikki and myself. We're playing with an emergency, right? This is because of, as I said, strategy was a design. And the problem of everything that is a design, it's the operational leverage that comes with it. So strategy being designed in a certain static way where you have allocated resources, everybody's supposed to know exactly what is supposed to know, action are going to be dealt in a certain way, and the measurement of which is those KPIs and this OKR, period and full stop. Guess what happens if there is a displacing factor like a COVID? People don't know where to look at, right? Because they're stuck in a design and they cannot move else. AI will allow to and now I'm actually using really Nicholas Taleb concept. They're allowing you to become an anti-fragile organization. And anti-fragile is this ability of providing a converse response in case of another thing that's going to hit your design, if it makes sense what I'm saying, right? So AI will allow you to easy the process of strategy so that you can continue to adapt, because the response you're going to give to the next shock coming your way is going to be a way more rapid for you to give such a response, right? So that's the beauty of the AI. And we really thought through this in the way we are productizing our solution to allow leaders to have such a rapid response unit out in the field, rather than going like an emergency room where you're not clear what to do here now.
Yeah, fantastic. And then losing complete sight of what your strategy was. And because I think you're right that resilience has really been the name of the game for companies that have been able to weather, unfortunately, unprecedented event after unprecedented event that we've gone through in recent business years. So quite literally, you've sold me on that I'm going to go look at how I can leverage AI as I move into our end of year strategic planning. As other companies, what I've noticed is every enterprise, every business seems to be at a different point on their AI discovery and journey and adoption. What skills, for anyone that's listening in, and any person that's going to attend Scale Up AI to learn everything, what skills do you think that we need to develop as leaders, as executives, as we move forward into this world where Quantive and AI will be supporting my strategic development?
I already answered in part this question when I said, the minute you're dealing with facts as a part of your strategy equation, the assumption is the AI is going to be a way better, right? Because he doesn't rest. He has an ability to ingest a series of data. And frankly, I will resign from dealing with facts if I'm running the strategy. I just ingest those data. I'll tell AI, hey, please resurface those facts that are relevant. Please ignore the ones that are not. And that's it. However, though, as I said, as a business leader, when it comes to formulate an hypothesis and assumption, we are unbeatable. Actually, it's our limitation as a humankind that makes us unique and being unbeatable. However, though, it requires an interesting critical thinking, which is an ability to ask the exact question, which is very philosophical, right? If there is anyone that I think has a strong future in business, are anybody that is studying a philosophy here and now, right? Because the people that are studying philosophy have a passion to ask the right question, right? Or rather than the right, because otherwise it becomes judgmental, they have a passion to truly ask the question that is needed. This is the scarcity. This is what I think is going to become the scarcity factor for top-notch executive at the time of the emergence of your AI.
That is a fantastic answer. And I am going to leave us there. Carmine, it was fantastic to have you on. You really got me thinking.
Enjoy the conversation.
And I can't wait to see you and everyone else joining us at Scale Up AI on beginning of November.
Excellent. See you in New York.
See you in New York.